Hey everybody, this is the So Blu podcast, first episode. I'm Shohan. We'll go around the table and introduce everybody.
I'm Wes.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Jerad.
And I'm Bron.
So yeah, we're going to get things started. First things first, everybody's super excited about Deadpool, so we might as well just start talking about that now, because we've been holding back this whole time. Wes, you just saw it yesterday. Thoughts?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I loved how unabashedly aggressive it was. It was brutal. It was rated R. It was a hard R, and it started at the very first beat, and it really didn't stop the entire film. And it was just great to see a comic book movie take that approach. We've seen that kind of thing with Sin City, Kick-Ass, but never on like one of the big two Marvel DC properties. And I mean, it worked. I thought it worked fantastic.
Anybody else?
Who was your favorite character in it?
Deadpool. I mean, Deadpool was amazing. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of great characters, but yeah, Deadpool stole the show. I mean, he was the show. It was good.
I think my favorite was Colossus. I was telling Wes earlier, seeing Colossus made me excited for X-Men movies in a way I haven't been excited since the beginning, because I'm not excited about them anymore. So yeah, it made me happy to see a real X-Man for once.
What I really enjoyed too was how well they hit Colossus and Deadpool right on the head. Like, you know, having seen Deadpool represented in the Wolverine Origins film and just being destroyed. I mean, it was awful. But and that was also Ryan Reynolds, so I was a little trepidatious about that. But no, I mean, they nailed those characters so well. And we've also seen Colossus on the silver screen. Yeah. And that character, while it was fairly close, this Colossus was straight off the pages. And I thought that was fantastic.
Nice.
What did you guys think when you first saw the trailers?
For Deadpool?
Yes. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
For Deadpool, I thought well, there was like the test footage that was leaked early on, and that was like, oh, they can make a Deadpool movie. It'll be pretty fun. That was interesting. The first it was really the Red Band trailer that I think was the thing. I was like, this is going to be a fun movie. Like, the regular trailer was kind of like, okay, whatever, that looks like it's going to have some jokes, and then they hit you with that Red Band trailer, and it just looks like these guys hit every comedy beat perfectly, and there's violence, and there's F words, and it's great. Like, it's going to be what this comic book has become over the years. Started as like a normal little guy, and then he became his own thing, and now you get this movie that's like, it's that guy doing his thing.
Totally.
I remember I was talking to Jordan about it before it came out, and you were kind of worried that the jokes would get too many F-bombs or like be like a little kid learning a curse word for the first time. Do you feel like that ever crossed the line?
I mean, there's about 40% of the jokes don't work. But it doesn't matter because the rest of the jokes do. Yeah. And especially, like, everything between him and T.J. Miller. Mm-hmm. Like, for okay, so Reynolds doesn't get everything right. But Miller, he gets every line, and he nails it, and it's so funny. And yeah, like 60% of the movie works, and of the jokes work, and it moves so fast that at the end you don't care about the ones that don't work.
Oh, we should probably say spoilers for Deadpool, because we're going to talk about everything.
Well, it's been out for like 2 weeks, so.
And everybody's already seen it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, go see it.
Everybody's already seen it.
Spoilers, Hondas.
Yeah.
So what was the 40% that didn't work?
I mean, things that when he would say, he calls someone like a thunder or like it's like variations on it's just throwaway lines like that, and some of the references don't always work. But there's one about a comedian that I think is hilarious. It's Yakov Smirnoff.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. And the first time we saw it, I felt like the theater absolutely got it. And then I saw it 2 nights later, and no one understood it. There were crickets in the audience. But that's an example of something that works, and just people didn't understand who he was referencing.
Yeah, I love the fan services in there. There's a lot of inside jokes that like wouldn't necessarily play to everybody, but the people that got it, I thought like it really hit it out of the park because it was the writers understanding their demographic. Mm-hmm. They knocked on the Green Lantern movie. They knocked on the Origins film. You know, and then they went straight back to Deadpool comic books. They had chimichanga jokes. They had Golden Girls on the T-shirt. You know, like, they were hitting the beats that like really. Not everybody's gonna get that joke, but the people that get it really, really appreciate it.
That's Deadpool. Like, he makes jokes that not everybody, or not universally, you know, funny, but some people will love them.
One thing that it does well, it breaks the fourth wall. However, I wish there would have been a commentary on how generic the plot was. I felt that was a missed opportunity because they take jabs at everything else, including like when Colossus drags him away and he says, "Which professor, McAvoy or Stewart?" And you know, there's a joke about Fox not having enough money for any more X-Men. I wish there was a jab at how generic the plot was.
Right, because they even did that in the opening credits with the tropes.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Especially when she gets kidnapped in the third act. I wish there would have been something with that, so they recognize just how formulaic the movie is, but it doesn't matter because it's so entertaining.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was a missed opportunity to not do an origin story, which would they could have easily just started with that the overpass scene and then move forward, and you already get that he can regenerate, and you get that he's wearing the suit and he's a little crazy, and once he takes the mask off, you get that he's all weird looking.
Yeah.
And like if you don't do an origin story, he can just make a joke about it, and it can move the plot forward without having to go back and tell his. The origin story is interesting and it's funny, and there's the stuff with Marina Picard is really great, but like it was like this it's just another superhero movie. All you do is your first one, you do an origin story, and then you have him team up with somebody in the second one. Like that's just how it goes. And it was and like when you're making this movie that is not everything else that superhero movies do, it seemed like telling an origin story seems like, oh, you just couldn't just do it.
Yeah.
Like, just don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's one thing, one conceit you might allow them, I might give them that, just because they branched out in every other direction. Like, if they played a little formulaic for the story of a superhero movie, but it was still poking fun at the idea of a superhero movie, like having them kill people and not care about things and be really selfish for the whole movie. I almost give them that, just so we can, have a cohesive story.
Sure. Yeah. I wonder too, like with the success that it had, because I think today was like 300
million.
Yeah. So I mean, huge opening box office, and it is one of the big two. It's a Marvel movie. If this is going to be an indicator for works to come, where people are realizing that there's more mature audiences and adult audience that appreciate the F-bombs and the gratuitous violence. I mean, my goodness. And, there's rumors of the next Wolverine film being R-rated, which makes total sense for that character.
Yeah.
If you look at the first season of Daredevil on Netflix, really brutal.
It's perfect.
And everybody loved it. I mean, that stuff's very successful. This movie's very successful.
You didn't love it?
I spoke too soon.
Everybody but Jordan loved it.
Jessica Jones, that was so great.
Yeah. So
love that.
People are finding that there's an audience for this, and I wonder if that's going to influence what's to come. And I hope it does.
I mean, I feel like there's two sides to that coin. Like, you could have people making really great Wolverine movies, but then you could have people making R-rated Power Ranger movies. For
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to R-rate everything to make it.
It shouldn't be this like, all right, floodgates are open, everybody make an R-rated comic book
Sure,
movie.
that's true. Yeah. Although I would watch an R-rated.
Jen and the Holograms R-rated.
They made a terrible Jen and the Holograms movie.
Oh,
I
God.
might redeem them.
Yeah, right?
Were you saying something, Jared?
I was just talking, I'm just really glad that they didn't, pull any punches. Even like Jordan said about how, some of the jokes fell flat. It was kind of reminded me of Airplane and movies like that where not every joke is gonna stick, but they make so many of them that you're still laughing the entirety of the movie. I was laughing so hard I missed jokes the first time around.
Well, there are more laughs in the first 5 minutes than there are in the whole running time of Zoolander.
Yeah, exactly.
Part 2.
It started right off the bat. It didn't skip a beat, and it just carried on.
I wish there would have been a difference between Wade pre-Deadpool and post-Deadpool.
Deadpool,
He's the same person.
Yeah.
He's just an asshole the whole time, and I wish there would have been some sort of difference there.
There should
I
have
mean,
been like an increase in insanity. I think it's
yeah.
Exactly.
where it's supposed to go is he's just like he's like a jerky, and then this thing makes him insane.
Mm-hmm.
And while it's like implied that he's crazy, you don't get insane crazy.
Yep.
Right.
He's weird and he's still the same person, but he's doing more violence.
I
Yeah.
fully agree. Yeah, I wouldn't say that like it didn't ruin the movie for me at all, but it was one qualm that I noticed that they were clearly trying to go to the comic book source of current Deadpool comics coming out, and they did a really, really good job in most aspects, but that was one thing that they didn't quite catch. I mean, he didn't have voices in his head, you know? And there wasn't quite a distinction between Wade and Deadpool.
Yeah.
It was just the same character in a suit.
But I wonder if you could like present that in a visual format, the voices in his head, without it becoming like kind of boring.
I almost thought when he got, spoilers, knifed in the head, and he started seeing cartoon characters walk around, I thought that might have been the introduction of that transition, and maybe it was just setting up for the next movie, but then that didn't pan
I
out.
don't think so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they take the character because they're already greenlit for Deadpool 2.
Of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see like the evolution of this character.
Absolutely.
What they're going to do with him. Maybe they'll add elements like that further down the line.
Yeah, and I mean, it didn't ruin it. It played, it worked, but it was lacking in that, I thought.
In comparison to the comics.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
I loved him being paired up with these two characters, which totally could have failed completely.
Yeah.
But it works magically. And we've talked about Colossus, and let's just talk about how amazing Colossus is. I mean, the Negasonic Teenage Warhead character is pretty great, but Colossus almost steals the film
He does.
from Deadpool.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
I love how I mentioned this before about how his moment of chivalry in the film almost gets him killed when he tries covering up. I always forget her name.
Angel Dust.
Gina Carano.
Less angry Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah. when her boob falls out and he covers it up, like that almost gets him killed. That was one of the best moments in the film, and he's just trying to be a nice guy. And, there are so many great Colossus lines in the film.
Yeah, and again, like that's so true to the books, and I think that they just did themselves such a service and the fans such a service by staying true to that, and they did that with Deadpool as well. But speaking of Negasonic Teenage Warhead, I was actually a little disappointed with that character because that was not true to the books, and there's such a multitude of characters to pick from like the Marvel, pantheon, that they went with this really obscure character, which I dug. I was like, we're going into deep waters here, but the representation of her wasn't quite accurate. So it's a little nitpicky, but the character herself worked. I thought in the movie she was actually kind of cooler than in the books, but it wasn't quite true, and you could tell that they were trying to keep that, but they kind of faltered on that one character, and I'm not really sure why.
But do you think like if they brought in like a more known character, or if they were more accurate, that we would have felt like, oh, they should have given her a bigger role? Like, because if they gave her a bigger role, it would have slowed down the pace.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, you had that with Colossus, so you couldn't really jam up too many big characters in there. That's a good point.
Getting into Spider-Man 3 territory.
I don't mind Spider-Man 3.
It's
You can watch it alone.
It's a B movie sequel to an A movie part 2. So okay, but getting back to Deadpool, Spider-Man 3 is not a horrible film.
That's not a point on Deadpool.
No.
But I'm just saying
It makes Deadpool better.
Objectively bad.
Yeah.
it's not bad.
It is. It's
No,
bad.
it is not.
It's not bad.
No, it is not.
Well, it's the opposite of good.
At the very least.
No.
You stand alone on this one, brother.
Okay, if it came before Spider-Man 2, people would not complain about it that much. The fact that it came after Spider-Man 2, and it's not as good as Spider-Man 2, people automatically say it's terrible.
I mean, Amazing
No.
Spider-Man 2 is almost as bad
No,
as
3
Spider-Man
is
3.
worlds better than Amazing Spider-Man
Goodness,
2.
now you're just championing it just for the underdog.
Yeah.
No, I am not. Oh my god, Amazing
Well,
Spider-Man
now
2.
that we have Deadpool, maybe we'll have an R-rated
Oh
Spider-Man.
my god,
And it'll be
you
amazing.
people are out of
That
your
would be-
mind. Who am I
No, but
talking
see,
to?
R-rated Deadpool, or I'm sorry, Spider-Man doesn't play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it doesn't
Yeah.
work because he's like goody Peter
Exactly,
Parker.
yeah, but you give a character like Deadpool his dues, or Wolverine, or Punisher, or Daredevil, these characters that are known to kick ass, like, then we're getting down to the good stuff, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't want to see Captain America ripping off heads, that doesn't make sense.
I do.
Or maybe I do.
Yeah,
that
that's-
actually sounds pretty fun, but it wouldn't fit.
Secretly a fetish of mine.
But I feel like even if someone doesn't like Deadpool, and I can understand, I wouldn't begrudge anyone for not
I
liking
can't
Deadpool.
understand
But I feel like they at least would have to acknowledge that there's a lot of dedication in this movie.
Absolutely.
And everybody in it is giving it their all.
Absolutely.
Like, everyone is on board and they're having a blast. And when I saw the panel at Comic-Con, people were so, like, they had the director, I think the writers, and the whole cast. They were so enthusiastic about this movie, and it shows in the film. Like even all the jokes that Reynolds doesn't make work. Like, he's still giving it 100%. Like, he's dedicated,
Yeah.
and it's very admirable.
It's nice to see Reynolds get a win on a comic book movie, you know?
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Did anybody see R.I.P.D.?
yeah. It's not good.
I did.
It's not good.
I didn't bother. It just looked like a weird Men in Black ripoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got Jeff Bridges, and he's sort of doing his Rooster Cogburn shtick, and it doesn't work. It's bad. It's bad, and it sucks because I love both those people, and it's also got Kevin Bacon in it, who wasn't in any
Kevin
of the
Bacon's
trailers.
in it? Wow.
Yeah, he's the main bad guy in it, and yeah, it has an amazing cast. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
So was that a comic book? Do you know? R.I.P.D.
It was, yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with that.
Okay.
It was, yeah. I think it was an independent.
Okay.
I want to say Dark Horse, maybe Vertigo. Yeah.
Yeah. I only saw it on the shelf after the trailer, though. It was like, oh, okay, I guess
That's
this is a
okay,
thing.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, which is funny to see with Deadpool as well, because like they do the big merch push,
Yeah.
marketing, and you know, like the video game's been out for ages. Like they did the original marketing for that, and then the movie came out, and suddenly they're
There's
like,
a
"Hey, buy this
surge.
video game again!"
Yeah.
And then like all the comic books. I mean, Deadpool's got several titles on the shelves right now.
Wow.
I mean, he's taken over. Deadpool's big business.
But I guess that's kind of what they do with comics, like, or they have been since the movies have gotten so popular. When I was reading comics, I noticed, like, when we were approaching the first Avengers movie, it's all of a sudden, oh, X-Men are fighting the Avengers
Yep.
for no reason.
Totally.
Like, okay.
Well, it's Deadpool is originally, you would know more about this. He was Rob Liefeld's ripoff of Deathstroke, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Which was a DC property.
Yeah, and they
And
do
then-
that all the time.
Yeah, you see that a lot. And then, like, it wasn't until later he became so irreverent and fourth wall breaking. And
Yeah,
stuff
well,
like
no,
that.
the characters changed so much. If you look at him, he was introduced in the New Mutants, and he was a really serious mercenary. And like he ran around with Cable a lot. And back in those days, there were gun blazers, and those were just action-packed comics. Like back in the era where like you had muscles illustrated on top of muscles.
Pockets everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
like,
exactly. That's exactly like that was the first Deadpool, and people really loved that Deadpool, but he did fade into obscurity, and like people kind of didn't care after a while. And then they made him the comic relief, and it was fantastic. Like suddenly he had an audience again. There really isn't another representation of that in Marvel, where you just have the wild card, crazy, count on it to be nuts character, and that's what makes Deadpool so much fun. You know, like he can run around with the good guys and the bad guys, and he's nuts. He's totally nuts. And I mean, I think in DC you kind of have that represented in Harley Quinn, or even the Joker.
Yeah.
But Harley's kind of the spotlight right now. But Marvel really doesn't have many other characters like that. You know, the Avengers are pretty serious. The X-Men are pretty serious. Spider-Man has his quips, but he's a good guy. Deadpool will cut your head off, you know, and he'll laugh about it, and it's fun, and it's good for any franchise to have that character, that ace in the hole.
Yeah.
I remember somebody posted on Facebook. I remember reading the issue, but they pointed out a Deadpool fact where in one issue of Deadpool, he shot a guy in the head because he said he liked the Star Wars prequels.
Count on Wade, man. That's great. Yeah.
I've always seen him as like, if you were gonna do a D&D campaign, he's the chaotic neutral character. He just does whatever the fuck he wants without any sense of morality.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how he plays into further X-Men movies. Like, will he even appear?
I hope not.
Will they like, because they can't let rated R Deadpool into the X-Men universe.
He'll get watered down.
Unless you bring like Joe Carnahan into it and take out Bryan Singer, which they need to do like right now.
I heard he's done.
Singer? Thank
Since
God.
his
He's been
last-
holding
yeah.
that franchise down since, what, 1998? He's horrible.
But they're making money.
Yeah, they are.
Bankrolling.
Who
What was the
cares,
last
though?
singer? Oh, it was Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened in that movie? Exactly.
There's lots of pretty flashy
They
lights.
reset the universe. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
They
reset.
Star Trek did.
They didn't explain how Picard came back to life, but
Well, they reset the.
Yeah,
Bryan
they
Singer.
like they were like X-Men 3 kind of sucked and X-Men Origins Wolverine kind of sucked, so let's just get rid of all that.
20th
Now
Century
we can
Fox,
do
they're
whatever we
like,
want.
yep,
Should have been Kitty.
let's hire this guy again.
it should have been.
But she's not the big money
Hashtag
maker.
should have
She's
been
not-
kidding.
Should have been Kitty.
She has to get
It's
her
gonna be
own
trending now.
franchise before she can start
Yeah.
an X-Men movie.
Best X-Men movie, First Class, but let's not get him back or someone like him. Let's get boring Bryan Singer back. Let's not try it for anyone else. He might bring some energy to this series, like Joe Carnahan. Joe Carnahan's awesome. He should direct every franchise. He should.
Everyone.
If Carnahan directed the next Transformers movie, it'd be a great Transformers
I
movie.
might actually go watch that.
Exactly.
What are some of his movies? I can't think.
Oh, Smoking Aces, Narc,
Okay.
The Gray.
Okay. Oh yeah, I love that.
Stretch, which is really good actually. It's a lot of fun. It's not the best thing ever, but it's a good way to spend an hour and a half. It's got a crazy Chris Pine performance, so there you go. Get Bryan Singer off.
You want to get Bryan Singer?
Hashtag should have been Kitty.
Oh no, because I'm not
He
10
might
years
go for
old.
that, yeah.
Yeah, like Deadpool.
Yeah.
You just
like
got to
that.
go to his pool party.
Oh boy.
Oh dear.
Oh boy.
Okay.
What do you think of the romance in Deadpool?
In Deadpool,
Because I thought it was very charming.
I thought it was very charming. I was worried that it was going to be treated like every other superhero movie treats a romance. It's just sort of like a means to appeal to women, even though women don't like being pandered to. But I thought it was really cool. Like, there was a scene where he makes a Liam Neeson joke, and it almost got annoying. But then I realized...
Wait, what moment?
He's
I don't
sitting,
remember that.
He's sitting in the corner, and it's dark in the bedroom, and...
Oh, the dating joke?
Yeah.
Well, he's like, oh, maybe he's just a bad father. Yeah, this is all spoilers. You can spoil that joke. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's pretty great.
I thought at first, because the moment, it didn't really lend to that. I was like, oh, this is getting really annoying. But then I realized he was just kind of trying to dissipate the whole situation.
Right.
It worked, you know, it was nice and endearing. And somebody pointed out, it didn't even occur to me, even after watching it 3 times, that at the end, when Wade talks about, when he's talking to Vanessa, and he's saying how, oh, I live in a crack house with 12 other people, blah, 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 blah. And she says, but you live in a house?
Yeah.
That's a callback
Yeah.
to the, when they're like
The
going back
dishwasher.
and forth.
Yeah.
So you have
It
a
was-
dishwasher.
Yeah, it was just kind of brilliant. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought that was nice.
And there's, I rewatched the Red Band trailer. There's a lot with Monica Baccarin that's not in the movie.
Really?
Yeah, well, not a lot, but a couple beats in the trailer. So I'm excited for an extended version.
Special
Yeah,
edition.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was great in it. She has a lot of energy to her.
Yeah.
And she has a lot of charisma, and she matches Ryan Reynolds perfectly.
Yeah.
I really love that it was a romance story. Like, you get so many superhero comic book movies that are like about the annihilation of the world and we all have to band together to save humanity and civilization. And this was like, no, man, I just love this woman. And like, it was much more simple and relatable. Like, not that we can relate to being, mutated and becoming a superhero, but the premise was approachable, and I really like that aspect of it. It wasn't about like aliens invading and blowing up New York. It was about a guy trying to get his girl back, and I like that.
I loved that to establish the relationship, it was just them having sex on holidays. That's literally
Fantastic.
that's
a great
all you
montage.
needed. It was so good.
I know, my Thanksgiving sucked, dude. Like, compared to that.
And my International Women's Day, like, oh,
Yeah, I gotta switch it up. That's
I thought it was so perfect. Like,
was pretty great.
Yeah,
yeah, really good stuff.
Yeah, that was a great way to like establish time moving in an unusual way, and to show their relationship develop through sex scenes.
yeah, through unusual kinks.
Oh my goodness, the proposal?
Yeah,
Wow.
right.
Wow.
And by the time he proposes to her, like, it comes right after that montage. But at least for me, I totally bought it. I was like, oh, of course, yeah. I'd propose to her. I accepted everything in that movie, except 40% of the jokes.
Yeah, apparently.
But I thought twice. I'm gonna buy it on Blu-ray, so it's great.
Yeah.
I think we'll all buy it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Unlike Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. It's important to talk about Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Get it on Blu-ray.
So talking about Blu-rays.
Well, I imagine Deadpool might become a Blu-ray.
Criterion Collection.
It's significant
It's
contribution.
yeah. It should be in the Library of Congress.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
exactly.
Yeah. Works of
So
cultural significance.
I know Bron and I watched Steve Jobs on Blu-ray.
On Blu-ray.
On Blu-ray. We
It was
watched-
on Blu-ray. I believe.
it was
Yeah.
Not a red
the,
ray?
It was not the DVD copy of it. It was the full-on Blu-ray.
So that was my bad, because I came here watching it on Laser Days. And I have no business in this room now.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about
So Steve Jobs, what do you think of Steve Jobs?
I actually really like Steve Jobs.
Has anyone else seen Steve Jobs?
I have not seen it.
But I heard it was way better than Ashton Kutcher's.
I mean,
Didn't see Ashton Kutcher's movie.
Michael Fassbender versus Ashton Kutcher.
It's no comparison, really.
Apples to oranges. Apples to dog. Actually, I mean, to be honest.
Max
Aaron Sorkin knows how to write a movie. That's really
There you go.
the best way to look at Steve Jobs is
yeah, I didn't see the last the previous film
yeah.
because I knew this was coming out, so I didn't waste my 2 hours watching that. But I heard it's bad, so I feel like I'm not missing much. But I feel like Steve Jobs is phenomenal.
on Blu-ray.
On Blu-ray.
On Blu-ray, yeah.
And the features are great. It has 2 commentaries with Boyle and Sorkin, and I've listened to both of them, and they're a delight. They're a delight.
Fantastic.
That's the kind of thing you can only get on Blu-ray.
Blu-ray, and that's exactly right. You know what's interesting about Steve Jobs? Universal Pictures, their Blu-rays usually come with an iTunes digital copy. And Steve Jobs, if you go on the iTunes movies homepage, Steve Jobs is nowhere to be found.
Huh.
It's almost like they're embarrassed by the movie.
Doesn't
Yeah.
paint Steve Jobs in a very good light.
Altruistic.
But I mean,
He's not the God savior.
yeah, it paints him as, but at the same time, it redeems him at the end.
Well, he's also
And-
it shows him as a genius.
Yeah.
And that's what people think of.
I don't understand why.
You should all see Steve Jobs on Blu-ray.
Got it.
It is out now
It is.
on Blu-ray.
It is. Anything else on Blu-ray? Is anyone
Anybody else?
excited about any upcoming Blu-rays?
Upcoming Blu-rays. I mean, one just came out that I was watching. It was pretty great. It was an HBO miniseries starring our very own Poe Dameron called "Show Me a Hero."
Didn't he win, or didn't someone win for that? The Golden Globes.
Yeah, I think it won
Yeah.
a Golden Globe for it.
Wow.
It's this civil rights story that takes place in the late '80s when you think racism is over, but it's still alive and going. It takes place in Yonkers, and it follows the true story of this 28-year-old mayor of Yonkers named Nick Wasisco, and there's a new housing project that they're trying to bring into the white neighborhoods or the higher income neighborhoods, and they're bringing lower income housing to help, integrate and diversify, and also help to break down the systematic segregation that's been going on for black people. So people are trying to say stuff like, oh, it's just about economics, or, oh, I don't want my property value going down. But then you got the other guys quietly saying like, oh, it's that freaking Jew judge trying to get us to integrate with them, usual N-words and stuff like that. So, but it doesn't pander to any one side, because initially Nick Wasisco is like opposing the integration and the bringing in of the New Deal and all that stuff. So it's really good. Everybody's shooting all cylinders. Alfred Molina from Spider-Man.
Oh, my boy, Doc Ock.
What's her name? Winona Ryder from Star Trek.
Our favorite thief. When's that movie coming out, right? Am I right, everybody?
Winona Ryder's story?
No, the movie that she claimed she was doing research for.
Yeah.
When she stole the items.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, she should probably
Steve Jobs, right? That's the movie. That was supposed to be. Okay, go on.
Yeah, it was really great. There's a commentary on it. Was there a commentary? I can't even remember now. I reviewed it a while ago. But it's really good. Everybody's firing all cylinders. Everybody's into it. Everybody's, having as much fun as you can with horrific racial disputes.
It sounds like a blast.
But it's really great, and it ends in a really perfect way. I think it's based on a novel that's based on the true events, but it's really great. It not only tells his story, but also tells some stories of the people that were living in the projects, trying to get into the homes. It's cool.
That sounds really good, because it's so hard to paint like a subject like that objectively and really capture it accurately without pissing people off.
And that's the thing it does real well. It doesn't try to doesn't try to put guilt on any one people or make people feel ashamed of who they are, what they believe in. You can kind of see the perspective from the white people. It's like, yeah, I can see like they're a bunch of drug addicts and murderers that live in these projects, but they're also good people who live in these projects. So that's kind of how it goes, and it's good. I'll check it out on Blu-ray.
Wait, did you review it for So Blu?
I did.
There we go.
Right there.
Shohan's
You gotta read that.
Yeah, check it out.
We'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah. Bump that
that's
to the front
something we
page.
could do.
On the show notes. Yeah, of course.
Ron can put it in post-production.
Of course.
I'm very excited for Criterion's The Player coming out on the 24th of May. Have you heard?
I haven't heard of this one.
Wait, no one's ever seen it?
I've never heard of it.
Oh my god, it's great. It's a satire on the film industry directed by Robert Altman with Tim Robbins.
Okay.
It's
Oh, that's the one with the long shot intro.
Yeah.
It's got like a 3-minute long shot intro. Gotcha.
It's fantastic.
Many times.
I'm very excited for that. Yeah.
Okay. It's called The Player?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else? Blu-rays? I just watched the new Criterion The Kid, Charlie Chaplin.
Oh yeah,
He's
gonna be big.
Yeah.
I think he's
going
going
places.
Yeah.
Big future ahead of
He might be dead. But
I don't know about the Hitler mustache though. That might hold him back a little bit.
I heard Charlie Chaplin entered a Charlie Chaplin lookalike contest and lost.
Yeah.
did he really?
He
Yeah.
did.
When was that?
Back when he was alive.
Yeah.
Well, obviously. What was it, 1999?
They brought this corpse up with string.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, that needs to happen. Chaplin version of
But The Kid is great. It's considered, many people consider it his best film. I still think City Lights is one of the greatest films ever made. It's in my top 5. But yeah, the Kid has some great gags, but still nowhere near as funny, in my opinion, as some of the gags in City Lights. But the Kid Blu-ray, the Criterion, it looks great. There's a commentary by a Chaplin historian, and it's fascinating. Although I've read Chaplin's autobiography, and the commentary repeats a lot from that. So it's still fascinating. It's still definitely worth a look, and there are a bunch of new interviews, and so it's worth checking out.
Cool, man.
Awesome.
Oh, we could talk about The Witch.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Briefly,
Weston's
I guess.
No, you guys go ahead.
I feel like it's one of those movies that when you say you didn't love it, people are going to get mad at you.
Sure.
And I appreciated it.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful. It sounds, the dialogue is beautiful.
The score is good.
The score is absolutely phenomenal. I did not love the movie. I would recommend it to anybody. I'll probably watch it again on Blu-ray. But I wasn't blown away by it. I didn't think it was the greatest horror film. I didn't think it was the greatest film about witches. I didn't think it was that particularly scary.
So, it doesn't have a spoiler. I haven't seen it. It's about witches.
It is. There is a witch in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are several witches in it.
Okay.
And they ride on brooms, which is great. It's
No, they don't.
Well, they kind of do.
well, you don't see them ride on
Yeah.
brooms in the film, but they do.
Well,
It's suggested.
Yeah.
It's suggested, and you see the one on the stick at the end,
Yeah.
and yeah.
And in the very beginning, you see one kind of floating away. It's very blurry.
Yeah.
It's very evocative. It's a,
Spoilers.
well, come on.
It's called The Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called The Wit. Yeah. I didn't love it. I would recommend it to anybody. I really enjoyed it, and I feel that's almost not good enough.
I think it's not good enough. I think-
For all, it's been getting rave reviews from everybody, and I feel almost like I'm missing something. By when it ended, I was like, all right, that was a movie about a witch.
I think part of the praise, like aesthetically, it's amazing to
Yeah.
watch. Like every shot is shot perfectly. There's so many picturesque scenes. They use the rule of thirds for almost every shot, so, which is where you off-center everything by a third on the screen, and it's used in composition and art and stuff. You see it a lot in classical art.
Okay.
So, being like, I have a little bit of an art background. Like a lot of the scenes evoked like Rembrandt paintings, and it was very picturesque. And I really appreciated the reproduction of the dialogue at the time and things like that.
Yeah.
But the weakest part of the entire film was the plot.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciated everything it was doing for the period, for the mythology, but at the end of the movie, you're just kind of left with like a dissatisfied kind of feeling as far as the resolution.
I was thinking like, I think we talked in conversation after the movie, I was saying something like, if they wanted to go for the family is suspicious of each other thing, they should have made that the whole movie.
Yeah.
Or if they're going to do that, now there's a witch and she's making magic stuff, they could have done that for like the whole movie.
It doesn't fully
It tries to do
commit.
both of those things, and it kind of works. Both of those things kind of work. And if they had shifted some point to like, okay, just the family is suspicious of each other now, we need to play this out for a lot longer, and that, the suspicion part takes place for like 15 minutes, and you're like, that was a lot in 15 minutes of them to just be really suspicious really fast. And that is, it's befitting for the time period and the stuff that could happen there, but maybe they didn't do enough of that, or maybe there was too much of it. It was weird. It didn't really fit the rest of the movie. And you're like, oh, slow build to this. Like, what is there a witch? Is she doing stuff? What is she doing? And then it's like, oh, the family just is suspicious, and then everybody's to blame, and then it ends.
I think that, like there was never like this satisfying tension between the characters themselves.
Yeah.
Everything kind of played out as you'd expect it to. Some things never really played out, like the relationship with the father and the daughter was almost dismissed in the same scene that it's brought up in. So
I thought there was going to be more with... There are moments in the beginning where the brother looks at the sister.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to pay off. And it sort of does, but not really in a satisfactory way.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much a performance-based movie.
Yeah.
Like almost 100%.
Sure.
And they don't really focus, like, for a movie called The Witch, I don't really feel like there was much emphasis on the witch for the most
Yeah,
part.
you get that early scene with the.
Yeah, the early scene.
Her cackling at the end.
Yeah.
Which is pretty great.
Yeah,
Like
that
that's
scene's
what
pretty-
that's an amazing moment.
Yeah, that early scene like pulls you right into it, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, this
You're
is
like,
gonna be
man.
the most screwed up thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of goes into this sort of familial tale that takes place in the 1600s of people trying to survive in the wilderness, which is cool, but it has nothing to do with a witch. So I don't know.
But come on, who is going to dress up as Black Phillip for Halloween? I absolutely am. You know, people can dress up as their Kylo Rens and their Captain Americas and their Batmans. I'm going as Black Phillip because that goat needs an Oscar. If DiCaprio gets an Oscar, give that goat an Oscar next year because that's the best performance.
That or the bug-eyed rabbit.
Yeah, that. Come on, Black Phillip. If they would have shown Black
I was just thinking.
Phillip talking, actually speaking at the end, I would have stood up and cheered. I really wanted that. And that may, you know, that's a commentary on maybe how simple of a film goer I am. But I absolutely wanted a shot of Black Phillip just contact the Jim Henson Creature Shop. I just have Black Phillip talk.
That will do.
And I want that conversation between Black Phillip and the daughter, like inserted into like one of the Babe films.
Oh, someone do that right now.
I love that conversation at the end.
Yeah, because it does have like this near miss quality, like Shohan was talking about, where like you kind of glance the surface of like their paranoia,
Yeah.
and like you almost enter that state where you can believe how people in this time period could be so freaked out about something so supernatural and unnatural and unreal.
Sorry.
But instead, Jordan wants to dress up like Black Phillip.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on. I'm not the only one who watched that movie and thought, I'm dressing up as that stupid goat for Halloween.
Was there somebody walking during the Black Phillip interview scene? Was there somebody walking?
Yeah.
So
It was like a boot or something.
in the implied nature of that is that Black Phillip becomes the devil.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then gets her to sign his black book.
But then he
Spoiler
changed back
alert.
into a
And
goat.
I'm
Yes.
absolutely watching this
Yeah,
movie.
exactly.
it's amazing.
No,
like
it's, like I said, it's worth watching. It's a really
No,
good
based off
film.
of all
It's
this,
just
like I kind of want to go
for the atmosphere and it's definitely worth a watch. Yeah, absolutely.
It's sort of like I feel like everyone raved about It Follows and The Babadook and saying they were the greatest horror films ever made. And I watched them and was like, they're really good horror films. They're not the best ever.
No.
I don't love them, but I really appreciate them.
I think
it's the same thing with The Witch.
Yeah, it's kind of just
Fair example.
a commentary on the stock of a horror movie these days. Is like
Yeah.
if you make a good horror movie that's original, it's gonna ascend past all the that's being produced. Lately.
It's better than Annabelle. That's my pull quote. And Ouija.
I was gonna say we.
The Witch. Better than Annabelle and Ouija.
I want to go on a tangent real quick, but okay, so this movie, The Witch, has come out. Scott Snyder has written a comic book called Witches, spelled Wytches, and it's fantastic. It's super creepy, really good, and they've optioned it. New Regency has for a film. So when this movie was coming out, I thought The Witch was going to be witches, and I was a little confused on that. And it actually makes me a little nervous about if they do make a movie out of this. You don't want just rehashing of the same material.
Sure.
And I mean, from what you guys are describing, it doesn't sound like it's going to be the same, but it's going to be confusing to the audience to have The Witch and then Witches come out, soon thereafter.
When
And then there's
supposed to
the
come
witches
out?
from the 90s.
No
Yeah.
word on that, just that it's been optioned.
Okay.
Did you see who produced The Witch?
No.
No,
What
I
are the
didn't catch that.
producers on The Witch?
Brian Singer.
No. Not that bad at all. Chris Columbus.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow.
Good old Harry Potter 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I saw his name.
Makes sense for the time period too. Chris Columbus.
Yeah, exactly.
God damn it, Bron. Couldn't have been Amerigo Vespucci.
Dude, Leif Erikson, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's the end of our first episode. I'm Shohan,
Wes?
Jordan.
Jerad.
And Bron,
and this has been the Why So Blue podcast.
episode 1.
And you can find all of us at whysoblu.com.